Breaking out of jail. Oh, the damn phone was ringing again. She hated those telemarketers. The landline was only good for calls from health enrollment plans or calls for someone named Philip Martin. Is he there? Are you a relative? Do you know how we can reach him? She told them to strike her phone number from their list. They didn't. Callers wanted to talk to this Martin idiot who must have been delinquent on his bills or owed child support all over town. She wanted to put an end to it, unplug the phone jack and let it dangle, one of those ancient-looking phones with a dial. But it worked fine. She'd pay for the landline, only stop that damn ringing because things were difficult enough. Bad enough that her son was in jail and was sure to do time. Her only son, the boy she'd given birth to in her own home, the boy who had placed his ear against a stereo speaker and fallen asleep listening to music. But there was always a question in the corner of his eyes. He carried distance around his waist like a life preserver. After his father had died, Charles had shattered into pieces. His father had meant everything to him. His favorite pastime had been in discussing Gurdjieff's theories, giving professional lectures to whoever would listen. Their circle of friends dwindled as his collection of esoteric books increased. On weekends, he trolled local bookstores for defunct publishers. An old friend of Charles had come knocking on her door over the weekend to tell her that her son was in jail. He wanted me to call you, he said, a man with a beard who apologized for disturbing her on a Saturday morning. All my friends call me when they get into trouble. She thanked him. Each time the phone rang, the thought it was her son, but it was only a call from Philip Martin. She viewed her son's charges and mugshots online. There were shadows beneath his eyes. The phone rang once again. A deep voice with a slight echo spoke to her. Who is this? Me, Philip. Who the hell are you? You know, I'd appreciate if you'd pay your damn bills. She unplugged the phone jack, but the voice kept talking. She banged the receiver and tried to shake loose something that was still working within the phone, something that was causing this aberration. I'm a friend, a good friend. People have been calling me for weeks now looking for you. You sound like a deadbeat. How'd you get my number? Do me a favor. Just press star. Look, mister, this is a bad joke. I don't even know how you're talking to me. Press it twice. His voice was quieter now. You've got to hurry or we'll lose the connection. She didn't know what else to do, upset after weeks of worry, her sisters living too far away to offer more than well-meaning support. She was tired of pacing from the kitchen to the living room and looking at the clock as if time meant anything more than annoying ticks. Okay. She pressed star and threw down the receiver that sent its AA batteries rolling along the compressed wood flooring as she fell to the couch, letting loose a flood of sobs that she'd been holding back all week. That's okay. We'll do this together. Janine looked up from the couch and wiped her face with the sleeve of her sweatshirt. Standing in front of her entertainment center with its TV screen guarding her CDs and shelves of Lakshmi and Asherah statuettes that she'd picked up over the years at flea markets, was her husband, George, a lot thinner But it was George, all right, a bald man with piercing green eyes and a prominent nose that bespoke his Russian heritage. I don't understand. Janine, I'm so glad to see you. She wasn't so sure if she was glad to see him. Aren't you going to give me a hug or something? How can this be you? You were always the skeptic, he said, sitting down to her on the green sofa. She moved over to make room for him. I know this is a lot to take in, but remember how I used to talk about quantum consciousness. How could she forget? When we die, he said, the energy of our consciousness gets recycled back into a different body. How come you're in the same one? Your last one didn't hold up too well. So you'd recognize me, he said. I did this for you, for both of us. George got down to business. He said that the phone was a device he was using on a temporary basis as a way to teleport himself from where his quantum information resided, a place of microtubules. Like your backup device, he said, sort of. Anyway, he was there to help break their son out of prison. And as soon as he said that, both he and Janine were standing in front of the Columbia County Jail, a squat building of yellow concrete with 2 pine trees growing at either end of a parking lot. He explained that all they had to do was to call the jail's central number. And then what? That will open the doors, don't worry. Not all the doors, just his. We're on the same frequency. Gee, it will be great to see him again. She wrestled the receiver from his hands and threw it with her best wind-up pitch into the stream where it evaporated with a loud hiss. You shouldn't have done that, he said. You don't belong here anymore. You never did. She walked away into the Columbia jail to visit her son. The next month, she received a very large bill from the telephone company.